so that we get, you know, the full show.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We will defer to you on timing.
Draw holy symbols on your whiteboard and see if they leave. Throw cloves of garlic at them. Although it depends on which version of vampire you're dealing with. Sometimes garlic won't work.
That's why I was going with the safe ones of fire, decapitation, and, you know, impaling.
Does anybody know if pictures of holy symbols are okay? Because I could just make a PowerPoint presentation that is a bunch of holy symbols rather than drawing them on the board.
Being in Microsoft Office automatically precludes holiness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if they are hopping, then they might be Changxi Chinese vampires.
What if I use LibreOffice instead?
I don't recommend it.
Well, that's fair.
I have OpenOffice.
That's how you become that which you're trying to destroy, Cluze.
No, I thought that was by running a Mac with Microsoft Office on it.
I mean, Microsoft Office didn't have the stupid ribbon longer than PC one did, so...
Oh, thank you. My name is 14. That really was amusing. And for those of you at home who might be listening, my name is 14 has posted in the chat. It looks like you're trying to repel a demonic intruder. Can I help? Clippy.
Freaking Clippy. It's the only useful thing he's ever done.
Yep.
It looks like you're trying to write a ransom note. Would you like me to change it to the ransom font?
Yes, I would, Clippy. Yes, I would.
It appears you're contemplating suicide. Would you like to review the in-term user license agreement? See,
wow,
that's dark.
That got dark. Yeah. Okay.
Dark comedy.
That got real dark.
Yeah, we're gonna start the show.
We're just gonna ignore that and move on with our lives.
Yeah. For those of you that happen to be watching this on YouTube later, well, now you heard that.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh wait, no. You know what we should do first?
What's that?
We should do a thumbnail pose, so I don't have to freeze like frame by frame through various sections trying to find a damn like where Bill doesn't have his eyes closed and Cluze isn't looking off over there somewhere, and I'm not scratching my balls. Like,
well, you're not going to find all three of those at once.
Exactly. That's why.
Why do you think I close my eyes, Chewie?
Well, that's why we need to do like a quick thumbnail freeze frame. So.
Fair enough.
Everybody do something that you want to be happening on the thumbnail. Oh, jam! What?
Sorry, that was my chair. It's very creaky.
Oh, no, I was looking at the Twitch chat. Apparently you're not allowed to listen unless you've watched Twitch ads. I don't...
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never had that problem.
But anyway. Huh. Okay, here we go. Ow, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Monday Night Magic here on twitch.tv/themanapool. This is Monday Night Magic number 625, and I am Chewie. Hi!
It's true, he is.
It's true. Is. I am. To my right, to the right, to your right, whatever, over there, it's actually this way, is Squee.
I am here, and I have a rubber ducky on my head, and you'd know that if you were watching it on twitch.tv/themanapool.
Yeah. And then further in that direction is Cluze.
I'm also here, which you would know because no one would bother to imitate my voice. And because you might be able to watch it on twitch.tv/themanapool. And then you'd be able to see what I look like, and then you would unfortunately have to associate my face with my voice, and we're sorry about that. Never mind. Don't look at me.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't a good ad for the stream, was it? I'm sorry. Never mind. I take it all back. I take it all back. Everything's fine here.
He looks like Robo-Cluze, but more organic.
This is
true.
true.
The Cluze 9000, only
this is
with
true.
a little
The
less
makeup
9000.
covers the robotic parts. I mean, never mind.
So, this, as I said, is Monday Night Magic number 625, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about.
Boy, howdy.
Which is very strange considering all we had was a 22 person tournament and a Star City event.
Yeah. Yeah, 22 is not a great turnout.
Right?
Nor is 23.
So
Barely fired.
So first up, we have Worlds 2018. Of course, the 2018 World Championship. Where
Tournament
Javier
edition.
Dominguez, what he said. Where Javier Dominguez, well, he took it home this time. Last year he made it to the finals, but couldn't pull it out. And this time, this is the wrong page to be showing. This time he got there.
Yeah.
He was playing in the standard portion. In case it matters, red black aggro.
Yeah.
And so remind me, Worlds was standard and Ixalan?
But no, standard and Dominaria draft, right?
Dominaria. Sorry, Dominaria.
Like,
yeah, sorry. I was picturing
No, it's all
Dominaria,
good.
but said Ixalan. I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay. In your defense, they don't really tell us these things very far in advance.
It was Portal 3 Kingdoms.
Ooh. That would be challenging.
No, there were only 2 Portal games. We have to have Half-Life 3 before we can get Portal 3, and that's not going to happen.
Portal 2 Episode 1.
It was the Telltale Portal game. Oh.
Aww.
Too soon.
Way
I'm
too
sorry.
soon.
I'm sorry.
You at least have to wait for the prompt, buddy.
Dang. So yeah,
Depressing.
Javier Dominguez won. Gregor Kowalski took second place, also playing a red black aggro deck.
Fair enough.
Ben Stark took third, also no, he was playing red aggro. Excuse me.
Undiluted.
Yes. Totally. And then Shahar Shinhar rounds out the top 4 playing the white-blue God Pharaoh's Gift deck. I like that in their profile pictures here for the top 4, we've got Dominguez and Kowalski in their Haruruya shirts. We've got Ben Stark in his Channel Fireball shirt because these are their sponsors. And Shahar Shinhar is sponsored by, I don't know, the Men's Warehouse.
Looking Suave is
Yeah.
Looking
sponsored.
damn fine.
Like, right? I mean, So, yeah, congrats to Javier Dominguez. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, but really for all the World Championship winners, no one will remember that in a couple years because this will forever be the tournament that Jerry T didn't play.
Oh, crap. I was going to say there was one more thing that I guess we should have mentioned, which was that Ultimate Guard Pro Team won the Pro Team Series Championship.
Yes, that was going to be next. But okay, we'll do that now.
I figured we'd get that out of the way before the thing, but it's too late. It's all broken now.
Hang on. Yeah, here
Scroll,
we go.
Scroll.
I was working on it. So yeah, Ultimate Guard Pro Team was, let's see if I can do this by face. We've got Owen Turtenwald, Paul Rietzel, Huey Jensen, John Finkel, this guy, and Reed Duke.
This guy.
Hang on.
So close, man.
I know his name,
Really
but
almost got there. I think it's Andrew Cuneo.
Cuneo. Yeah, Andrew Cuneo. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
So 2 members of this team I don't especially like, and so only one of them I don't like enough to remember his name. So, yes, congrats to them for winning the first. The first? Is this the first?
I think so.
Again, they don't do a very good job of promoting this sort of thing.
A lot of people were not aware that Worlds was last weekend.
Yeah. And I also didn't know that this was going to be at Worlds until I saw the announcement that they won, and I went, oh, was that happening at Worlds too? So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Which leads us to what I was alluding to before.
Right.
Friday. Right? Was this Friday? Or was this Saturday morning?
This was Friday. Wait a minute.
Friday morning.
Was it even Friday morning? Because I could have sworn. Where was I when I heard about this? Oh, I'm sorry. I just don't know.
I'm pretty sure this was Friday morning. Anyway, yeah. So, but day one of the tournament, Jerry Thompson hits Twitter and Reddit with, "Hey, I'm not playing in Worlds." Now, had I said this, it wouldn't matter, because I wasn't invited to Worlds.
It would be more surprising if you were.
Very true, yes.
And
but
we're tweeting about.
Jerry Thompson was invited to Worlds, a 24-player, most prestigious tournament in Magic, in theory.
Yeah.
And he has decided not to participate as a form of protest about the current state of pro Magic, which, let's see, how do we word this? Takes, I'm gonna say enormous balls. This was extremely ballsy. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very much an act of, I know full well that this is not going to make them happy, and there are a lot of opportunities that I might miss out on in the future for making them unhappy in such a big and public way.
Yeah. So. And he said in a later interview that he's been planning this for about a month and a half, and by waiting until the last minute to go through with it, he didn't give Wizards a chance to replace him and like sweep it under the rug.
Yeah. Essentially, if he had told them he wasn't going to do this months ago, they would have put the next person in line through whatever criteria they want to use in there, so that they'd still have a 24-person tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyone looking at the coverage and seeing 23 players is going to go, that's an oddly prime number for a game where everything is going to be divided by 2 for rounds, and wonder why.
Yeah.
Now, did anybody in any of the coverage talk about, and this is just something that came up when my wife and I were discussing this over the weekend, when a pro player agrees to come to a tournament, they've essentially, since WotC is paying for their travel and is paying for their hotel, they've essentially entered into an agreement with WotC. They will come and do this thing. Does anyone have any idea how it directly impacted Jerry to do this? Because they flew him out to Vegas, right? He put him up in a hotel, because that wasn't this where this was taking place, was Vegas?
I'm assuming he won't get the prize payout, because it's not like only the top 4 or something
not that.
Get paid.
But my question is, does he have to pay WotC back for his travel?
I don't think they can make you play.
See, I don't know. That's the question. Do they actually sign a real contract? And if they didn't before, will they
now?
Probably will now if they didn't before. But I don't even know if they can, because, like, so you have someone who doesn't want to play. Sure. You pull a contract on them, and then you have them sit down and not play?
Right.
Like, is that better for you?
It's why we still have the intentional draw rule, right? I mean, people can agree to do that because you can't make them play Magic. It just doesn't work.
Imagine they sit down and at the very beginning of the first round, instead of scooping, they decide they're just going to sit there and slow roll so that they can deliver their message that they want to share instead. You don't want that. Like, that's not better.
No, certainly not. I'm just curious how it directly impacted him, right?
Sure.
What is the actual immediate fallout for him?
And that I don't know. I don't think I've seen that anywhere either.
Yeah, neither had I. Just thought that I'd see if either of you had.
I'm sure that's not the sort of thing that Wizards would make public.
Oh, certainly not.
Yeah. So, his protest, since we haven't actually gotten to it yet, is about the state of pro Magic, and he's got 6 bullet points here. Wizards of the Coast does not pay professional players a living wage. I'm just going to abbreviate these because you can go read these yourself if you haven't already.
It's a good use of the show notes.
Correct. Or of the video if you're watching.
Yeah.
Wizards does not promote its players well. WotC's communication is notoriously poor. This is more about the pro system with its cycles and weirdness. There are not enough Pro Tour invites to satiate the player base. coverage is abysmal. Wow, that's a hard word. And then with people like Burton Cheney and Jared Botcher still playing Magic, it doesn't send a strong enough message to those who would consider cheating. And then he's got some anecdotes here. One about RS, like a +1s not being allowed, but after a certain point, and it was buried in one of the many lengthy emails, apparently.
And apparently he wasn't the only one who missed out on stuff because of that.
Well, I don't think it was Jerry, but Ben Stark tweeted about it, which started up all the uproar.
Sorry, yeah, that's the more accurate way of saying it. I knew that someone who wasn't him suffered from it.
Yeah. After the Pro Tour 25th anniversary, players had to figure out Team Series rosters for the next year and scout for potential sponsors. But it was impossible due to the lack of information WotC had given us. Is there a Team Pro Tour? What if members of our team fail to achieve gold status for the last half of the season? And there's just lots of stuff, because once you set a team, it's set for the season, right? I think that's the rule.
Yeah, like the equivalent of this would be like if you were a football group and you didn't know if there would necessarily be a Super Bowl next year. Or maybe next year teams are only going to have 6 players instead of 11 on the field at a time. Like, these are things you kind of have to assume are going to get stabilized, but in Magic, they don't. Magic changes up the tournaments and their structure all the time.
It would be like not telling you if next season you're allowed to have a kicker.
And depending on the sport, that could be bad.
Yeah.
Goalie versus goalie. It's
Yeah,
Lucio Ball all over again.
If your sport is baseball, then that probably doesn't affect you much. But
It's even worse if next season we're going to have a kicker and it is baseball.
see?
I'd be more likely to watch it. Throwing that out there.
Leading up to GP Sao Paulo, the Wizards Magic BR, the Magic official Brazilian Magic account, I assume is what this is. Let's go look.
It's easy to find out. I think it is, though.
Yeah. That is exactly what it is. Okay.
Yes.
Made 4 tweets about the GP starting only 5 days before. They mentioned 3 artists and a panel with 2 WotC employees. Nothing about the tournament itself. Nothing about the reigning player of the year or the most recent Pro Tour champion in attendance. Nothing about the tournament itself. Nice job repeating. He's like, so the point is that this goes back to the Wizards not promoting their players.
Yeah.
And this is the Brazilian account right before a major Grand Prix in Brazil. There's another anecdote about during Pro Tour Dominaria when the innovative green-blue Karn deck got posted on coverage for all to see. So any surprise factor for a deck coming from outside the meta just gets boned.
Yeah.
He comes to the one point that I don't entirely agree with. I'm on board with him for all of this, but he says everything surrounding the Silver Showcase was a disaster. And he goes on to complain about the usual complaints about the Silver Showcase, including the format, the people playing, and all of that good stuff that people have been complaining about since it started.
Yeah.
So let's see. And then he has what I'd like to change. And his ideas are to star build some stars, create player-driven narratives, that sort of thing.
Which they have done in the past. They just haven't done lately.
They have?
Wasn't that the whole point of Johnny Magic? Was that Wizards wanted to have a main celebrity, a Michael Jordan of Magic, and so John Finkel got elevated way up over where players normally would be. This could be entirely wrong, but that's what I was told when I started playing, and I haven't seen anything to contradict that. Like, Wizards aggressively wanted to make at least one player stand out.
I wasn't part of Magic, at least not competitive Magic. I wasn't paying any attention to it at all during that time, so I don't know if that was a Wizards thing or if he just won everything and couldn't, became that.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that he
don't
was
know
winning
either.
a lot. That's obvious, but I want to say the treatment of it was a little different.
Now, wasn't that also kind of what they did a couple of tournaments back, where they followed Reed Duke the entire day?
Yeah, well, that's brand new though.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
But that is a thing that they did.
It is an effort.
Right. So,
True.
if nothing else, it might be seen as a step in the right direction? Question mark.
Could be. That could be a start of a way to address that.
All right. His second, what I'd like to change: hire commentators who can follow the game, are familiar with the formats, and can provide engaging commentary. That one is, aren't they doing that?
Yeah. So this is one of those. I think we may circle back and talk about some of the other points. So I'm not necessarily just trying to dissect each and every comment here necessarily, but I feel like this is one of those complaints that you kind of always get regardless of who is doing coverage. Coverage is we're never in the situation where everyone is happy with coverage, if that makes sense.
And that, again, that applies to other things too.
Yeah.
I think part of the challenge you're always going to run into is that if you already know the game in and out, then when they put up someone who says things that are really, really obvious, then it turns into John Madden syndrome, because they're not actually explaining it to you, they're explaining it to other people. And I also think that, coverage people are going to get things wrong. They don't have as much information as we think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is the problem, which you just alluded to, which is they're trying to talk to too many audiences, right? So they have to say the obvious crap for the people who don't know Magic, but they also have to try and get some, real inside baseball sort of stuff for the folks who've been at this forever.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to please both ends of that spectrum simultaneously.
They really need to figure out who is the more important spectrum and focus on it. Like, side note, I've been watching a lot of the Heroes of the Storm Global Championships, right? I've been following the series all season.
Mm-hmm.
And every game, or at least every series, they repeat the same things.
Yeah.
You want to get on Volskaya, you want to get the Protector, take out these turrets, go up to the top lane, and be sure you take out that well, because then you have the advantage for when the next control point is up there. The enemy team can't just go back to their well, refill their health, and attack again. They have to go further away. They say that every single game on Volskaya Foundry, because you never know when it's someone's first time watching.
Yeah.
And I think people who are deeply invested in Magic, when they do that sort of thing, are going to go, oh my god, we know! But, as Cluze said, that part of it isn't for you. So shut up. But
mind you, if there are other criticisms of it, like from what I've seen of coverage, for the most part, they know the cards that are currently around. They know the decks. They talk to people to try to learn more about how they work if they're new. They get an idea of what's going on. They've still got limited information. They can't see more than we can. And they have the absolutely miserable job of staying on for the entire tournament. I will say that being able to swap them out more often would be an improvement.
Oh,
having
for sure, yeah.
multiple teams to go back and forth, because I've seen them get to the end of a tournament and make mistakes. Like, unlike the people that are playing, they don't get to take a break when the round ends early. They jump to another game, or they jump to something else. And it's exhausting too. So I say, for that improvement, I can't argue for the quality of the people, because I don't see where we've decided that they're lacking, but I do think we need to have more people. And
they already get people like Reed Duke and LSV and Paul Rietzel, who are players and high-level players. They get them into the booth whenever possible.
Yeah. You can only take so many people off of the floor and put them in the booth. It's not like you have someone who played Magic for a long time and retired because they have a sports injury. Like, they just keep playing if they're still interested.
Yeah. So, as someone who doesn't watch a lot of coverage, my only problem that I have with coverage is pretty constant. It's that there's always just this dead air.
Yeah.
Where, because they have to be on all the time, they run out of things to say. And especially if
there's like a judge ruling and they have to stall for an unknown amount of time.
Well, that especially, yeah. But like when there's, I don't know, a control on control matchup, and someone draws a card and goes,
Yeah, when players are in the tank, there's only
coverage.
so much you can say about the players being in the tank.
Coverage can't just go. God. Well, let's pause a moment. Like that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they have to stay on topic the whole time. I mean, we barely make it through, this show saying useful things the whole time.
Say no, we do not make it through.
We don't. Look, I was trying to be generous, okay?
And they don't have to stay completely on topic. It's okay to wander off every once in a while, but
I think the most challenging thing that we expect out of them is to look at the information that's available and predict what they think people that are probably better than them at playing the deck who are playing it right now are going to want to do, and explain that to us while it's happening. And that's something that is incredibly mentally taxing.
Very much
and
so.
I think that it's really easy to sit back in the Twitch chat and like make fun of them for missing stuff, but there are limitations on what we can ever expect. If people get better at it, great. I think having multiple people swapping in and out throughout the day to keep them fresh would be good. And I think that there are other ways that it can improve, but I don't think it needs to improve because it's currently bad. I just think there's always room to get better.
Correct.
But again, these are our opinions. That's not what he's saying.
Right. Also, thank you for the follow, Not So Silent Bob. Yeah, he goes on to say other things like production value and how to make limited interesting can come second. Flashy animations, hiccups. Flashy animations, bright lights, and a huge purse might make players check it out, but if the commentary isn't engaging, they will leave. That is true, which is why part of the reason I don't watch coverage.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the commentary isn't engaging, is that watching two guys sit there and play card games doesn't do it for me personally. I don't watch Hearthstone coverage either. So, like, it's not that it's a physical card game, it's that it just doesn't do it for me.
I also don't watch golf, poker, or anything else where people barely move for long periods of time.
I do when I go hang out with the old man. Golf isn't a fair comparison because at any given point, there's like 12 people with cameras on them. So golf coverage can jump, and there's never... You'd think there'd be boring moments in golf coverage, not counting golf itself. Like if you find golf on the whole boring, then
there's no saving me on golf. Yeah, that's why I don't watch it though. That's fair.
But
I'm not the audience.
Yeah, but like when I'm hanging out with the parents and the old man's watching the PGA, I find myself getting interested because there's never a pause. Like there's always a camera on somebody like teeing off or trying to get out of the damn bunker, or can he make this putt? It's a 33.
Yeah, when you get the Rich Hagen coverage, that can make things better. That's entirely true.
And we lost Cluze.
Cluze got bored with the golf.
Well,
I get it.
There we go. But anyway,
auxiliary Cluze?
Sure, if you've got an auxiliary Cluze.
This will take a second to get into position, I think. But
yeah, so other way.
This way?
So you both need to move closer to away from the couch.
It's harder because we moved the camera.
Anyway, okay, so
keep talking for the audio. I'll figure it out.
That's commentary. His third point is create more Pro Tour invites, which is a direct relation to his other point up above. He also says don't ignore the Latin America and APAC communities because it is much harder for someone from one of those regions to get on the Pro Tour.
I think that's entirely true.
And his final, what I'd like to change is he'd like WotC to value the working relationships they have with partners and various community members. Their actions have indicated that they feel like everyone is replaceable. But that's only true if you don't care about your product and or community being the best it can possibly be. I don't know exactly what he's talking about here. Hey, Cluze, welcome back.
Hey.
It's a new Cluze.
We've moved on to point 4.
Oh, great. That's fine. That's fine. I had a thing that I said that was really profound when I dropped off the call. It's fine, though. It's cool.
What? Well, go right ahead.
Well, I don't think any of this got caught, but I just had a thought that is not necessarily a topic for discussion right now, but just something for folks to think about. Is it possible that Magic simply isn't a spectator sport? It's just something to consider. I mean, we keep trying.
I would like to hear about in the comment.
Anyway, I'm sorry. We're on position point number 4.
Yeah. He's the working relationship with partners of various community members. I don't know what he's specifically talking about here, and I got nothing.
Yeah, I would need more specific examples of that because I could project things into that container, but that's not necessarily going to be what he's talking about.
I don't know.
So yeah, suffice it to say, with all of these things listed here, he decided that these were a big enough issue to step out of the event to bring attention to them.
Yeah. And then below this, he has an FAQ. Won't the pro player ambassadors help with these situations? Because just recently they've added 3 pro player ambassadors, or what's the word? Are they ambassadors? Is that the word they're using?
I think so.
I think it was.
And he claims that that meetings with pro players has been a regular thing and they rarely implement it. So he said, if I thought having pro player ambassadors wouldn't be more of the same, I would have happily applied myself. So, okay. Doesn't the addition of 2 pro tours per year mean things are getting better? And he didn't say this, but no, because they said the total number of invites won't change.
That was going to be my comment too. Like, if you're not actually changing the number, you're spreading them out. You might be making it more convenient travel-wise for some people, but you're not bringing more people into the fold.
Yeah.
You just split it up.
And then the final question, why protest at all? And he says it's because Wizards is usually the one that has all the power and all the everything. But he wants to show that the player base is willing to sacrifice things in order to improve. It's sort of going on strike.
Yeah. And for that one, like, I can understand, because like I've made this criticism before. You can complain all you want. If you're still buying Magic, it doesn't really matter. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, they want you to be happy, but this is a vote with your wallet thing. And in his case, this is a vote with his exposure, vote with his influence, vote with his ability to impact a major event that is a lot larger than he is.
Yeah, and definitely sacrificing, possible fairly large cash payout. I don't know, what was the payout at?
It seems like I remember seeing somewhere that the bottom payout was like 12.5, but I don't know if that's right or not. Someone want to look up the World's 2018 payouts?
Yeah, I don't actually recall.
Okay, looks like Cluze is looking that up. Now, he does end this with an apology to the judges and tournament officials at Worlds that are not the reason for all of these things, but they're the ones that have to deal with him suddenly disappearing.
Okay, I found it. So the lowest prize payout in World Championship, according to the fact sheet, in the 17 to 24 placement, so like the bottom third of the field, was $2,500.
Oh, so it's 25, not 12.5. Excuse me.
Yeah, 2,500.
Maybe 12.5 was like the average if you divvy it all up or something. I don't remember.
The total value for the entire event was $300,000. So divide that by 24, and that's probably in that neighborhood.
So do that real quick.
All right. This is the kind of thing that I would do in my head, but if I'm wrong, the internet will tell me forever. So I'm not going to trust myself. Calculate. Yep, 12,500.
Okay, so yeah, 12.5 was the average payout. But yeah, this is powerful. Like, this is huge. And I'm fairly certain Jerry T's stock went up quite high.
Socially, it did.
Yes.
Like, going off of, the completely unimpeachable quality of someone's Reddit post, he got 96% upvoted, and 17, I think that's a gilded thing. I don't know. I don't Reddit. People agreed, essentially. The vast majority of people, 24 out of 25 people agreed more than they disagreed for the purposes of voting on Reddit. And I did not see anyone disagreeing with him anywhere on my Twitter feed. So while that's anecdotal, I have not actually seen any dissension on this one.
So I suppose the real question is, while this took guts, and the overall reaction I've seen has been positive from the community side, will it actually have an impact long term? Will it change things?
Well, we could look at what Wizards said.
Sure,
So,
let's do that.
What did Wizards say?
So Wizards had a brief statement that was read out by Rich Hagan. So by all means, that link will be in the show notes. Look that up. It sounds much better coming from him.
I mean, everything does.
Let's see. Early this morning, Jerry Thompson announced his intention to not participate. We wish this weren't the case, but we respect his desire to make his voice heard. Pro player consultants, that's the word, are working directly with us to shape and mold the Pro Club. 2 additional Pro Tours a year raises the overall prize pool, which was not what Jerry T was complaining about at all. Not the prize pool. He didn't mention prize pool anywhere. And commentators like Paul Cheon and Simon Gertzen are seasoned pros who provide engaging commentary. True. There's still room to grow, and this is going to be a big year as we continue to improve Pro Magic in 2019 and beyond. So basically, they said this because they had to.
Well, I will note that, one of the complaints was that pros need to be able to get, a living wage. So upping the prize pool could cause that, but that's going to depend on distribution and quantity and accessibility. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much out of what they said here, because this was clearly we need to put together something that we can release right now.
Yeah, this is damage
which
control.
is going to be light on details.
Yeah. I mean, you hear pros say all the time that Grand Prix are like the worst EV ever, as far as EV expected value, as far as money.
That's probably true.
So,
I mean, let's be real. This was the, World Championship. Bottom on this is $2,500. That's not impressive when you're talking the World Championship of most things, especially when you have to travel. And whether or not they're paying for your ticket, you've been to a lot of events. You've probably put a lot of time into this. And if you, as the, one of the top 25 players in the world, are coming away with this from, the $2,500 perspective, that sucks.
A little bit.
I mean, maybe I'm expecting more out of things, but that's less than they likely paid on anything else in the entirety. It's like $300,000 for a total prize pool is nothing compared to the rest of the cost that would go into even one element of the world tournament. That is very small. If you're expecting people who are buying into all of these entry-level tournaments, buying into the things that, you have to do to even qualify, let alone all of the, shortcomings and failures along the way, for out of all the people in the world, 25 get here, and you're only throwing down $300K for that, that's pretty terrible by comparison to nearly everything else out there that you could spend that much time and energy getting good at.
Yeah. For instance, let's do some Googling real quick. League of Legends Worlds 2018. Oh, hey, look, that's happening now. 2018 prize pool. Aha. Doo-doo-doo. That's a Gamepedia link. Let's not go there. Here's a Liquidpedia link. Okay, here we go. In 2017, blah, 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 blah. This doesn't help. Trophy overview. Hang on. Does anybody see a number? Oh, here we go. So the top 4 for League of Legends, Season 7, the 2017 World Championship. Apparently, the first place team got $1,540,000 Now, how much does it cost to play League of Legends? I bet it's not anywhere near a single competitive Magic deck.
I'm also willing to bet you don't have to travel to play it.
To play in the finals, you do.
In the finals, but like getting there, do you have to? Like, I don't know.
Not as often.
I have no idea how this works. By comparison to all the travel you do to play in Magic and get up to pro level.
Yeah, I think offline events are probably significantly smaller.
Yeah.
Or significantly less frequent, rather.
What was the total prize payout for Worlds? It was 300,000?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. The winner of the 2016 Hearthstone World Championship walked away with 250,000, just the winner. The 2017 World Hearthstone Championship had a prize pool of $1 million.
Ooh, that was Pavel.
I mean, think of all that they had to spend on singles to play in that, though. Wait. Exactly.
I mean, to get a full collection, that does take a pretty penny, but still not nearly as much as a couple of decks of Magic.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, we want to be careful here, right? Because it's not like WotC necessarily has the same revenue inflow that
True.
Hearthstone or League might have. So let's be aware that we are comparing apples to pears here. They're similar, but not quite the same, is what I'll say.
Very true. But Wizards keeps wanting to be an esport.
That is fair.
Yeah.
And if they want to do that, they might need to step up.
It's totally understandable that when you're comparing, Wizards of the Coast marketing budget, which is what tournaments essentially are,
with Blizzard.
with Blizzard, who, are still rolling in Warcraft money to this day. It's understandable that that's, going to be a false equivalency. But if you're looking to play in the esports world, you're competing with people who have to decide what is worth all of my time and energy. And here we are. I mean, I would argue that Hasbro as a company is large enough to penny up on this if they really wanted to.
Yeah, goodness knows they could always fart out a couple more crappy Transformers movies. And
I'm fairly confident the amount of dumb licensed Monopoly games that family members have gotten me means that Hasbro has money.
So, we're not saying that there needs to be a $10 million prize payout for Worlds, but what we are saying is that the 300,000 for a game that's this old and been going this long and has this kind of player base and has this kind of following, seems
I'm saying that I can understand the criticism.
Yeah. Okay, JD Phoenix in the chat says a more interesting comparison is Eternal, which just amounts a 100,000 world championship with nowhere near the player base of Magic. That's true. Eternal is a digital card game that is pretty similar to Magic.
Yeah.
That has only been around for, I don't know, a couple years max.
Yeah. Likewise, if you want another fun comparison, the first Overwatch World Championship was also a $300,000 payout, but that was in its first year and well before they were rolling in loot box money. So, esports, challenging in different ways, but that's the field you're competing.
Yeah. And I also understand that, the venue of these big events is going to change how coverage works.
Yes.
But, with, I think it was GP Reed Duke, when you cut to the commentators, and they're just sitting there, and behind them is the venue in all of its stark white wall glory with a bunch of people milling around. That makes me not want to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is clearly, a $12 budget. Nice. I'm just saying. Presentation is a big part of it. And as long as we're having all these events with coverage at random whatever venue they could get, stuff like that's going to keep happening.
Yeah. So this could all be growing pains into growing into an esport, but at the same time, this is a 25-year franchise whose Worlds players, like if you were the kind of person who's aiming to be the best in Magic, period, that's the prize payout you get for fighting your way to the top. Kind of sucks.
Yeah, which is still a massive amount of money. We're not saying it's not.
Yeah, I'm not pretending that, I just sneeze and more quarters than that pop out of my nose, because that would be terrifying. But I am saying that when you're operating on that scale, you have to factor in these comparisons.
Yeah.
You're telling someone to make a career out of this if they want to be a pro Magic player and not a plays on the weekend Magic player.
Yeah, and Pinball Witch just pointed out in the chat, there's a reason that many pros over the years have switched to Hearthstone and various other games. Is because it's more lucrative.
You know where the money is. That's how jobs work.
And you can talk crap about, like, Kibler and Stan Sifka abandoning Magic to play this other game, but would you talk crap about someone quitting a job to take another job with a better payment? Like,
people gotta eat.
Yeah, like, right?
If we're operating in this world where there are pro players, you have to factor in that this is their source of income. Mm-hmm. If you're operating in a world where there are simply championships who are the best at a thing, but they're not considered pros, then it's a different thing entirely. But
correct.
We're pushing these as your job is to be really, really good at this game and to be really current at it and to spend a lot of your time and energy becoming the best at it.
Yup. Okay, then.
Yeah.
I think we spent way longer on that than we did on actual Worlds, but that's how the conversation goes.
That's the news of the last week.
Yeah, like, if Jared T hadn't done this, this episode would have been over already, because
we would have told you who won. We would have said that this is an incredibly niche format, so the decks don't matter, and then we would have spent a few minutes on the SCG event and gone home.
Yeah. So this is pretty big, which is why I say, like, congrats to Javier Dominguez. Go get him, but you're not going to be the thing about this particular Worlds people remember. Did you ever see that terrible Kevin Costner movie? Was it 10 Cup?
Oh, God.
Like, where
I think I saw Siskel and Ebert review it. I don't think I actually saw it.
I think it was 10 Cup. Like, at the end, he keeps trying to make this one shot, so he keeps dropping a ball and taking another shot and bloop in the water, and he drops the ball rather than take the stroke penalty. He just, and he, unlike the way too many of shot, he finally makes it, and he's like, oh my God, what have I done? I didn't win, and his girlfriend, I don't remember the character, but she runs up and she be like, who cares? Nobody's going to remember who won, but people are going to remember this. And that's Jerry T not playing in Worlds.
Yeah, that's true. As pointed out before, if you're not promoting Worlds as a big deal, then the news that comes out will overtake it.
Yep.
Now, if you won Worlds and you were on everything that Wizards touched for the next 2 months, it would be different.
Yeah, the problem is, and this is another thing that... Actually, hang on. Let me go to my Twitter account. Because there was a tweet from Brian Gottlieb. Here it is. That is brilliant. He says, Watsy, if you have any interest in addressing the raised issues surrounding your professional scene, today is the day you must start. You cannot send your world champion on their way with a handshake and a trophy. A single unprofessional post-match interview will not do. When the world champion is crowned later today, their picture needs to be plastered all over your website and your Facebook/Instagram/other social media. Their face should be your Twitter avatar. You need to sit down and do an edited, high production value interview detailing their entire world story. Thank you for the follow, SJL. Blah, blah, blah. Contact every content producer you have a relationship with. Your world champ needs to be playing Magic against Day 9. Hand them a commander deck and get them on your popular commander-based shows. Schedule grudge matches against Danny Trejo. And
dangerous.
Upload them to YouTube. Fly them to Renton and do a video feature in which they declare Guilds of Ravnica officially released and then play the employee release party. When arena launches, make a cosmetic celebrating their victory. Use all the resources at your disposal to make this person the face of Magic the Gathering for the next month. Show the players that you are ready to do what it takes to start making stars. Give your best players the type of opportunities that appeal to marketers. Don't let this become a time of discontent. Let it be the start of a promising new era in professional Magic.
Hey, I'm gonna say, have them work with R&D to help develop a card that we put their picture on. Never done that.
Dare bring those back.
Yes, since we don't do invitationals anymore.
Yeah, those are fun. I use them as tokens.
Or even if you don't want them to design a card.
No, he meant a
use
Magic
them-
card, not a pro player card. Bill.
Yeah,
Oh,
use them as the artwork for a card.
Yeah, it's something.
Have them appear in the next set so that next year we're like, oh yeah, that's the guy who was the world champion last year.
Yeah, as it is,
In
like
3
for
days,
for
you
the
won't be able to
hardcore
find out
like
who
people
this
who
was.
follow pro Magic, they're gonna remember. Well, yeah, Javier Dominguez won Worlds, but for the rest of us, you'd be like, yeah, the guy that won Worlds. You know, it wasn't Shahar Shinhar.
The vast majority of people are going to remember this as the event that Jerry T didn't go to.
Yeah,
Because that's more of a story than someone winning the tournament.
exactly. And their world champion doesn't ever do anything. They're just like you said, you get a handshake and a paycheck and you go home. And
For most of us, this is a little bit less relevant than a Pro Tour because we're not even going to get any new decks out of it.
you're right. So there's a lot of things Wizards could do to like get there, but will they?
And
I don't
admittedly,
know.
the suggestions that you just mentioned were all things that don't cost money. In the grand scheme of things, like they're already putting together stuff. Like, yes, getting a higher quality interview together is certainly something, but by comparison to a lot of the things that they put out, they could totally do this and it wouldn't be nearly as derailing because most of this is content they're already going to do. Just include the winner. Maybe the cost of an extra flight and some other coordination, but they're your world champion. Pay that money.
Yeah.
That's how you market it. That's how you get these things. Like, every time I know people that are new to the game, they ask me 2 questions. Who's the best Magic player in the world? Which can vary, and they'll never hear these names again.
John Finkel.
And what's the best card? Which typically turns into
Right.
explaining why the Black Locust is generally considered the best card, but that there are other contenders. But that's what people want to know when they first start. They want to know who the best is and what the best card is. And it would be a lot easier on that opening conversation to say, well, this guy won. You can see him in these 30 places. He's currently the best. Or this girl won. She's amazing. Look at all this great stuff that she's done, depending on, appropriate pronouns. Like, you should be able to have that conversation. I assure you, the vast majority of people in a month will probably have forgotten who won this. And
Yeah.
that's sad.
By the end of the week, you won't be able to find who won on WotC's own website. You'll find it in a Wikipedia article that lists the winners of tournaments in a giant, spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's where you'll find it. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's the way it is. And that's
That is
sad.
typically what happens with these. You're getting the almanac equivalent rather than, you've won a major sports thing and you're on Sports Center / whatever other shows are going on for a
Yeah,
while.
There's no
Yeah,
parade.
like-
There's no...
Like, doesn't
You're not going to Disney World.
like when you win a big sporting event, you do like the talk show scene, right?
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
the press circuit.
But the Magic World Champion doesn't do that, or else we'd have had one of the world champs on at some point because we've been around for how long has this show been going? Like 12 years or so,
Ever.
13.
Man of Pool +2.
Yeah. So, like you said, send them to all of your content creators. Have him do a video with appear in a video with Wedge, and hit the podcast circuit and talk about stuff.
Maybe give them some preview cards.
Yeah.
Just stuff. Like, these are things that you have to do anyway. Like, loop them together. And I think that's entirely true. So yeah, I do think that continuing to give feedback like this and suggestions that are reasonable makes sense. Like, we're not at Shareface Chippendale write their name on the moon levels, but there's a lot of stuff we can do that's not that extreme.
Yeah. All right. So we do have one more thing about Worlds, and there was a disqualification at Worlds.
That's how you go from 23 to 22.
So yeah, in round 14, so sadly not soon enough, as I think we were all thinking it, not soon enough to even up the rounds.
No.
Ken Yukihiro was disqualified. It says in game 1 he drew a diamond mare that should have been in a sideboard. He didn't bring it to the attention of the judges when he noticed that he'd failed to desideboard from the previous round. A judge was observing the game and recognized that the card was from his sideboard. After a turn had passed, Yukihiro called a judge regarding his failure to desideboard.
Yeah.
As the judge had observed the game and had witnessed the sideboard card not being brought to an official's attention upon it being drawn, an investigation was conducted. At its conclusion, Yukihiro was DQ'd. And that's all we got.
Yeah.
So something about... I severely doubt solely the fact that he drew it and then waited a turn before going, oh wait, hey, I didn't decideboard, is the reason that it was a DQ. So there must have been something else going on there. But of course...
I mean, it helped that he called the judge on himself. Just didn't do it fast enough.
But I mean, regardless, that's not a DQ by itself, right, Cluze?
Probably not. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really want to comment on what is probably an ongoing investigation.
You are not a judge, Cluze. It is fine.
I know I'm not, but
I will say that as a not judge who has never been a judge, and so if I say this and it's wrong, people can go, hey, that guy's not a judge. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So I'll say it. Odds are, if they conduct an investigation and DQ you, they've decided that you did something to gain an unfair advantage. And having an awesome sideboard card out for a turn certainly qualifies. So whether or not
played it.
here's what I will say. Okay, what should have happened was the moment he drew that card, he should have called a judge. Now you can argue, well, in the heat of the moment, I didn't realize, oh crap, this is a sideboard card, not a main deck card. So I really feel like some more things came out during the investigation discussion.
Exactly.
Than just I forgot.
Which is my whole point, that something else was probably almost certainly up.
Yeah, this is at Worlds, and this was at the discretion of the head judge, who decided that there's enough here that I'm going to disqualify you. So we weren't there for that. We don't know. Call a judge, like right away. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. So enough about the World Championships. Let's move over to the Star City event in Baltimore, shall we?
Sure.
Let's
take refuge in Legacy.
How many people were in the Legacy Open?
437.
437. That is a decent amount of people playing the Legacies.
That's all right.
That's a lot of copies of Dual Lands, is what I'll say about that.
That's probably true.
That is true.
Yeah. So I guess you want me to talk about this, since it's.
I assume you usually want to, and since you're actually here.
Yeah, you're not underwater or anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. There was a Legacy event, and I did not have to go anywhere, so I couldn't record this week. That's kind of nice. So, okay, here we go. With 437 players in the king of all formats in Baltimore, playing in this SCG event. In first place, Matthew Vuk just ghost-quartered your only red source with his 4-color Loam deck.
Oh.
At least he wasn't running blue, so I guess it's okay. Sadly, Jonathan Rossum was running blue in his Grixis control deck. If he wasn't, it would have been a Rakdos deck, which now that I think about it, would have been preferable. At least there were zombie fish. In third place, David Long knows the value of eschewing blue, bringing Golgari Depths to the table, and hoping that you don't have a way to bounce that token. I suggest you violin a Sting Scourger at end of turn. That's free advice. You can go ahead and take that. Shaheen Sarani was also on the Grixis control plan, which he piloted to a 4th. I take solace in the singleton red elemental blast that he had in his sideboard. Will Pulliam, which is certainly not an alias for Bill Pullman, wants you to know that today we celebrate Punishing Fire / Life from the Loam combo in 5th. In 6th place, Brian Durkin understands the power of a combo, and this time with Painter's Servant and Grindstone. Unfortunately, he fell just short of getting the Cluze seal of approval by going mono blue. Okay, he didn't so much just fall just short of that, so much as dig a very, very deep hole and gleefully climb in while cackling maniacally.
Admittedly, he lost capitalization on the way.
Did he?
Yeah, his name is the only one that's not initial kept. Good job, SCG.
Michael Plummer is all about that return from the graveyard idea with a Grixis Reanimator deck in 7th. Given the field, Inkwell Leviathan's Island Walk will come in handy, but I still don't think it's worth the price of having to play blue in your deck. Finally, in 8th place, Lucas Cruz has several posts and lots of Eldritch Horrors from Zendikar. He's playing Eldrazi post, obviously.
Clearly.
So there you go. So that's your top 8. Unfortunately, I think I closed the tab that has the rest of the decks for this.
That's okay.
So, what do we have in 9th through 16th?
Let's see. We've got Lands, Dredge, Grixis Control in 11th, Dimir Shadow. What is Dimir Shadow in 12th?
It's a Death Shadow deck, but in Dimir colors.
So wait, what?
That's
color? What color are Death Shadow decks usually? Because they're always just called Death Shadow, so my brain didn't register colors.
I was actually hoping that it was a deck that used the shadow mechanic, but here we are.
You're a monster.
I mean, I'm not playing Legacy, so it doesn't hurt me.
Okay, it's usually Grixis. Right. Okay, thank you, Wedge. That's what I was thinking, but so it cut red? That seems like a mistake. We've got Grixis Delver in 13th, more Imperial Painter in 14th, and then 2 more Dimir Shadow decks in 15th and 16th. Anything interesting past that? A Sneakin' Showdown in 20th, a Zorius Stoneblade in 21st.
No goblins, no burn, no elves. Yeah, it's dead.
Yeah, no, there's some Infect further down, but, don't touch that.
No.
Oh, and there is a Jeskai Helm of Awakening deck. Which is a Helm of Obedience, rather.
Yeah.
Wrong one.
As commented in the chat, I appreciate the fact that the mono blue painter deck has a Lawan Cephalid Empress in the sideboard. Because that's the kind of card I only ever find in something like Mike's Binder. Format nonsense.
Huh. Weird. Okay, then.
By the way, I gotta ask, does anybody out there actually appreciate my Legacy Top 8 recaps? Because
I do.
I spend time on those. I find it amusing, so hopefully you do too.
I find them engaging.
Yeah.
That's what we go for.
All right.
So that was your Legacy event. Congrats to everybody who did that. Enjoy your legacies.
Would you like some more Legacy clues?
You want to go straight to the next Legacy?
Yeah.
I think it makes sense to stick with the same format.
We can, but I didn't write anything out ahead of time for this one, so I'll just be winging it.
Fair enough.
I believe in you.
All right, so how many players did we have in this one? We had 125 people in the Legacy Classic.
Yes.
Legacy Classic. And taking it all down was Case Johnson with a Dimir Shadow deck.
Popular choice.
It was an exciting final match against Joseph Horton, who also had a Dimir Shadow deck. Go ahead, make my life total low.
The race to one life and then win.
Yeah, here's Death Shadow. In 3rd place, Brandon Osborne was playing Storm. From the looks of things, it really does look like Ant this time. I actually looked. I don't think it's Tess. Didn't see any wishes.
So, realistically, though, if you have a Dimir Shadow mirror match, is that like playing chicken?
I think it is. Yeah.
It seems like it. Yeah.
That sounds more exciting than it should be. It's probably not in practice, but I'm imagining, like, I'll show you, like, this scene in Face Off, like, I'll cut my own face. Like, oh no.
Like, burn mirror matches are also
Yeah, those are great.
far more tense than you'd think they'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're always one instant away from the end. Glorious.
In fourth place, Alexander Chen is playing Temur Delver. I almost said Timur Delver, but Temur Delver.
Timon and Pumbaa Delver.
Timon and Pumbaa Delver.
1.5.
Fifth place, Mark Fedek is playing Rakdos Reanimator.
Sounds horrifying.
When you really want to beat a dead horse?
You better use a Grizzlebrand.
Sixth place, Killian Cooley is playing 12 Post. In seventh place, Luke Purcell is playing Grixis Control. Do I like that? No, I don't like that at all. And in eighth place, Logan Courtwright has Demir Delver. Demir Delver? So Blue-Black Delver?
Black Delver?
So let's see. Baleful Strix, Delver of Secrets,
Yeah.
Gangler, Snapcaster, Mage, Trinian, Nemesis, Vendilion, Click. I feel like this deck had a different name.
Wasn't it just UB Delver?
It might have just been Blue-Black Delver, which, describes it better than Demir Delver.
But it's been a while since we've seen this one in the meta, I think.
Yeah. I don't approve of the true name Nemesi, Logan. You need to take those out.
What about the 3 Hymn to Turok?
In 2 play. That has a slightly better place if you don't want any friends.
Look, you're playing Legacy. What chance do you have?
You're playing Blue-Black Delver, so you've already telegraphed that you don't really want friends, so...
Before we wander too far, I'd like to point out how much I appreciate the Rakdos Reanimator deck having blue and white and green cards in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Reanimator.
Right, yeah, well, I mean, you're not paying for those things. So,
No, it's just funny.
yeah. Besides, we've got Lotus Petal.
Yeah.
We can make any color mana we need. Maybe not enough
It's
of them,
weird.
but we can.
Like, is this a new... Okay, so I know it's a new thing where they're using Demir and whatnot and Rakdos in the naming. But this was never called Black Red Reanimator, was it? This was just Reanimator.
It's just Reanimator.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's some sort of weird, like...
I think previously we only differentiated them by Reanimator and Mono Black Reanimator.
That sounds right.
I don't know. I'm just wondering
Because,
if this like came from on high at Star City to where you have to name these things this way on the site from now on.
My guess would be that since we're headed back to Ravnica, that they're trying to, stay on brand.
Yeah, but that makes sense for like Blue-Black Delver. Okay, call that Demir Delver, sure. But for this 4-colored deck...
Well, it's also funny to me that, like, I'm used to Reanimator decks having stuff that they're not actually going to pay for in them.
Right.
Like, that's what you do. But it's also got Serenity in the board, which you're not reanimating.
Yeah. Like, it's just an odd choice for this deck in particular.
Wow, Serenity is scary as hell.
Yes.
Well, it's because it was the end of Firefly, so...
Yeah, well, I mean,
that or Fox, take your pick.
yeah.
I meant like the chronological end.
Yes. Till you go into the comics, yes. And no one.
All right,
does.
what else have we got outside of the top 8? In ninth place, we have Elves. We're done here.
Fair enough.
Although there's a Storm deck out in 14th, I always have to look. It is...
There's an Omnitel in 12th.
It is Tess. Tess out in 14th.
And a pair of Death and Taxes in the top 16.
One is Death, the other is Taxes.
Cool. So then we have the Modern Classic. How many people were in that?
4.
The Modern Classic had 163.
Okay. And Josh Warsaw took down the whole thing with the Amulet Titan deck. Robert Cedar, let's say.
Have we seen much out of the Amulet Titan deck lately?
It pops up every once in a while.
Yeah, here and there. Yeah. Robert Cedar in second place is playing Blue-White Control. Yeah, okay, just making sure. Franklin Folks in third place has the Hardened Scales deck. How do you say this person's first name?
I don't. You do.
Zrui Zhao, let's say, is playing the Selesnya Company deck. Or Green-White Company deck. Robert Castro in 5th is playing Mono Green Tron. Joe Stempo is playing the Hardened Scales deck. Note this isn't like Green X Golgari. It's just Hardened Scales Affinity. Even though it's still not Affinity, but whatever.
Yeah.
Nicholas D'Ambrose is playing Hollow One. Not Rakdos Hollow One, just Hollow One. And Joe Fortini is playing Burn.
Burn.
There it was.
Fuego.
We've got the 5-color Death Shadow in 9th, more Hollow One, Jund, Blue-Eyed Spirits, Blue-Eyed Control, Dredge, Blue-Eyed Spirits, and the Mardu Pyromancer down in 16th to round out the rest of the top 16.
I really think we need to go back and look at that Burn deck. Did you look at this Burn deck?
I assumed it was a normal Burn deck.
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful. You should look at it.
I will note that since you commented on it, they are calling it Azoria Spirits instead of Blue-White Spirits now.
Yeah, but I refuse to do that for that particular
deck.
deck.
Sure, and that's fair, but like just pointing it out, that's weird.
Right.
It's weird and it's unusual.
Look at these 4 ofs and 2 ofs. It's 3 ofs. Oh, this
all
is
right.
great
So
deck.
while Cluze drools over some Burn, let's get through with this damn episode.
Yeah.
We have more announcements about announcements.
Yeah.
Apparently, Blake Rasmussen, during a twitch.tv/magic stream, announced the first 2 events of 2019 are Oakland and Prague. The full 2019 schedule will be announced on October 4th.
So come back 2 weeks for this show, or pay attention to it yourself next week.
Yeah. Well, I don't think in 2 weeks we're going to be recording, so maybe don't do that.
Would we not?
Well, no.
No.
Huh. So,
Did not know that.
The thing we talked about a while back.
Oh yeah. The future. That was a while back.
Yeah. So there you go. October 4th. Go look it up. It'll be apparently on cfbevents.com. And then presumably immediately on all the social media places everywhere.
That does sound accurate.
Look for it on MySpace.
Anyway, the other thing that happened at Worlds, they announced who was going to be in the 2018 Pro Tour Hall of Fame. Wow. And they are...
I missed this announcement.
They are Seth Manfield, to no one's surprise, and Li Shiqian, to mostly no one's surprise, and no one else. So poor Chris Pikula still doesn't get in.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, Seth Manfield and Li Shiqian, good job. Well done.
Congratulations.
I don't think anyone is surprised by this.
Yeah, this isn't exactly the dark horse crept in kind of situation.
Yeah. So there you go. They'll be inducted during Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica in Atlanta later this year. So let's hope they survive Atlanta to actually make it into the Hall of Fame.
Is that one still being called Pro Tour Guilds of Ravnica?
So far.
It's switched over to we're not calling them after the set anymore.
That's what it says here, so maybe. But then
Okay.
BDM wrote this, not like a wizard staff person, so
Sure.
I don't know.
I appreciate the fact that they don't have a picture for Brian David Marshall somehow.
Well,
Wow.
no one's ever heard of that guy.
That's
Considering
weird.
I know for a fact that he has a picture in their posting database on this website, it's just funny to me.
That was from several iterations of the website ago, so it's probably long gone.
Probably. It's just funny.
It's somewhere on a server right next to the original source code for DCI Reporter.
Oh. It's hanging out with that old Cold Snap folder.
That's a joke that some people out there get, and they think it's very funny.
There you go.
I think the source
you're
code
right.
for the original Kingdom Hearts is probably there with it.
Ooh. That's probably pretty rough.
Yeah, while we're making jokes about source code that was lost, there you go.
Yeah.
So next up, we have a thing that if you'd like to hear a lot more about, you should go to patreon.com/themanapool and sign up at the rare lifeguard tier, because that's why the show started about half an hour later than usual.
Yeah.
is because we went on at great length about some of the possible ramifications of this.
Yes.
It was a long and lively discussion. At one point I got pissed and I swore a lot.
He
so
did.
I did.
did.
Yeah, just a string of expletives. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, like, I mean, this is like essentially your premium content, because we're not going to talk that long about it this time.
No, we're not.
Get your Mana Pool Gold account today.
So this is a really bizarre article. It's named Experimentation, and that's it.
There's no picture of Kraj. I'm disappointed.
And I don't actually know how to talk about this.
Okay.
There are two major takeaways. The second one is that they heard all the people outside of the U.S. Was it U.S. and Canada for Mythic Edition?
Yeah, it was U.S. and Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, they heard the frustrations of people outside of the U.S. and Canada about Guilds of Ravnica Mythic Edition. And so now you can actually pre-order it from Channel Fireball for pickup at a Grand Prix right now, including events outside the U.S., which is awesome. They're probably sold out already.
It does sound likely.
But still, that's great that they made it available elsewhere besides just the Hasbro Toy Shop.
And, credit where credit's due. While it is sad that they hadn't really worked that sort of a kink out before they announced this product, at least they realized, oh crap, this is a problem. Let's try and fix this. And so kudos to them for attempting to fix this.
Yeah. So then the first takeaway is, Wizards has formalized a direct relationship with Amazon in the United States to give players, I'm reading this directly, to give players who order their product through that channel a better experiences. It also says in many parts of the globe, Magic has already been available directly from Amazon and other online retailers. To that end, Magic will also be available directly online from Walmart and Target in the US as well. And that is what most of the lively discussion in the pre-show was about.
I'll attempt to summarize my comments with at least 100% less swearing.
Ooh.
At least.
So here's the concerns that you're seeing, because there is quite a bit of outrage, pitchforks. Maybe it's not quite to pitchforks. There are a lot of folks in the community who are upset about this announcement, myself included. The issue is the message from WotC for years has been, we do everything we can to try and support your local game stores. So here's all this great stuff that we do to try and encourage people to go and to buy things from their local game stores. Look at all this stuff. Then this announcement comes along, and this announcement, it includes kind of the three largest threats on the planet to local game stores, which is the trifecta of Amazon, Walmart, and Target. And WotC has essentially said, yeah, we're gonna sell directly through those channels now as well. And this has made a lot of people really nervous. Now, there's no clear indication that they're definitely gonna undercut what your local game store can do for you. But at the same time, they're Walmart, Target, and Amazon. That's kind of the thing that they do. So that's kind of the worry. The issue is that there seems to be this shift in philosophy from WotC as far as support for their local game stores go, and it's disconcerting, is what it is. It may turn out okay. It may be fine. Then again, it may just be yet another nail in the coffin for local game stores, who are barely making it as is what we'll say about that. So that's kind of what the discussion was about. There was a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of lively discussion, but
a lot of it was a back and forth between different views on where is this likely going to go? What is the point where we start getting concerned? is it necessarily bad if they haven't told us they're going to do certain things versus prediction on whether or not it will happen? And this played out over the better part of an hour, I think.
Yeah, it was right about an hour.
Yeah, and like all announcements from WotC, and I can't help but think that there was a story earlier where we kind of touched on this. Like all announcements from WotC, there are a lot of unanswered questions and lack of clarity as to what exactly this means, even though it's an announcement.
I do think that they spend a lot of time writing like free-flowing text like this, where they try to, clarify what they're doing and why they're doing it, but given the way that their player base reacts to things constantly, it does make me wonder if they've ever considered focus testing some of this messaging with people who are a little closer to the community, just to be like, okay, here it is. How is this going to end Magic? And then right into it, this is why it's not ending Magic. Because this is a very constant problem with their press releases and news postings.
Yeah, and they go on to say that the goal here isn't to divert customers to these channels, it's to meet the customers who are already there and give them a better experience. A formalized relationship gives us the ability to better distribute product to players who aren't lucky enough to live near one of the many awesome local game stores, to market to players where they are already shopping, to make sure that Magic is represented in a way that is worthy of its awesomeness, and to grow the game for the entire world. While this may seem like a radical shift in philosophy, it's more an acceptance of how people interact with our game. Since many players already purchase Magic on Amazon and at large retail stores, expanding the availability of Magic will only serve to grow the overall player base, and formalizing that relationship helps bring them into the community in ways we haven't been able to before. So, yeah.
As Jay Spencer points out in the chat, though, perhaps we have buried the lead on the most important information that's in here, which is
I don't
in
know.
order to further support the local game stores, we've already begun work on new tournament software and an improved event locator. I don't really know what that means, honestly. I don't know if this is so. Again, this is inside baseball for just people who run tournaments. For years, we used Wizards Event Reporter, and it had what's the word? Issues. There was a replacement for that. There was there was a special version of that's called Walter, which is like the Wizards Event Reporter large tournament something. Anyway, the point is there was Walter. I don't know if this is a reference to Walter, which may or may not be done, may or may not be abandoned, or if this is a totally new product. I haven't the faintest clue, and I wish I knew.
Yeah, the long and short of it is that most of the tournament software that they've been using for a long time was not equipped for dealing with large tournaments.
No,
and had a bunch of other gimmicks, and a lot of working as a judge in a large tournament was learning how to manipulate this mess to make it actually produce results in a timely manner.
Yeah.
And there have been, a few attempts to make this better over time, and this is them saying, okay, we're going to do another one. We'll see. Here's hoping. We hope it's better.
We hope. Fingers crossed.
I don't understand how something so central to Magic has been this bad for this long.
My understanding is part of the problem with all of these pieces of software for running tournaments is that your tournament software by its nature needs to be able to interact with the WotC backend that keeps track of DCI numbers to find out if players, number one, if players should be allowed to be in the tournament because they're not currently suspended, because we do have to keep track of that, and to associate individuals with their correct DCI number. And then you had all the Planeswalker points. Are Planeswalker points still a thing, by the way? You needed your tournament software to interact with that backend, and the hoops you had to go through to create software that was able to do that the lawyers were okay with, because some of those DCI numbers are associated with minors, got to be really weird. And that's why it's not like, oh, we'll just hire this company to make a new one. Or even better yet, in the past, when individuals within the judge community have said, okay, I took the source code for this thing and I fixed it. Let's run this version. And WotC was like, oh, no. You don't get to do that at all.
Yeah.
So things were weird, like really weird.
So the hope is that they will implement a system that works better for this to help with stability during large events and cut down on all of that time between rounds where you go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember GP Charlotte a few years ago?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was an adventure, though, because I wasn't playing, so I got to properly hit the dirt and find cover.
Yeah, but do you remember what caused that? Because
that one in particular?
I spoke
Lack
to
of
Scott
tables?
Marshall about that. No, not the first big GP Charlotte.
Not that one.
The last GP Charlotte.
The finale.
And what caused that was they had to add someone to the tournament.
Yeah.
And that caused GP Charlotte to crap itself.
Yep.
Like, the fix, it turns out, was to add another person who was one of the higher-ups in either the judge program, Scott Larrabee, I think. They added him to the tournament and then dropped him. And somehow that fixed it. But it took like 4 hours to figure that out.
Yeah.
I might be messing up some of the fine details, but essentially it was something very similar to that.
This is a testament to the need for new tools. So it's a good thing that they're working on new tools.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to a sufficiently large tournament and you've been informed that the tournament was so large that they are running 3 to 4 tournaments and then combining the results, that's one of the limitations that they're dealing with.
Well, that's
And
why Walter was created, because Walter doesn't need to do that.
Right.
Yeah, the other reason Walter was created is the tournament software as originally written did not anticipate the idea that you would have more than a couple of hundred players in a tournament. So, in fact, I forget which one it was, whether it was Whir or the original DCI reporter, you couldn't go above table 999. You just couldn't. It wouldn't let you. That was
Yeah,
not
it
a
wasn't
table you could have.
Y1K compliant.
And the other issue you had was the software only would allow one person to enter results at a time, which at first sounds like, oh, well, of course, you'd only have one person entering results at a time. But if you've got a 3,000 player tournament, to have a single scorekeeper enter all of those results in serial rather than in parallel is an insane amount of time to pull that off, even if they're going fast and assuming that they're going not so fast that they make mistakes, but you just have the one person doing it. It's crazy. So Walter was invented so that it could be distributed, so that more than one workstation could be interacting with the results simultaneously, so that more than one person could enter. That was kind of its big claim to fame.
So TLDR tournaments are run on Game Boys. And now Walter was an attempt at a Game Boy Super, but it did not fit because they were trying to plug it into a Sega Genesis.
It was more of an Atari Lynx sort of situation.
That's a cat.
What the hell is a Game Boy Super? Are you just making stuff up?
A Super Game Boy. Yes, I know.
Okay. It's a Game Boy Advance?
No, the Super Game Boy, the peripheral for the console.
Oh, okay. Now it makes more sense.
Sorry, you plug it in a Pokemon Stadium with your 32X.
The joke checks out.
All right. If you weren't running it through your Sega CD, the Game Shark wouldn't know how to interface with the Game Gear that you somehow also plugged in.
Oh,
also,
God,
Game Genie is upset.
All right, so enough of that.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Hey, Magic Arena is going into open beta starting the 27th, which is Thursday.
Yeah.
So, as of today, Magic Arena is shut down because they had to shut everything down to do the account wipe. They're doing an account wipe, by the way.
Purge.
Everyone who spent money will get the gems back that they bought. So if over the course of the closed beta you put in like $20 to get gems, well, you'll get $20 worth of gems to start with. If you put in like $100 worth of gems, you'll get $100 worth of gems to start with. So yeah, you're not losing any money with the account wipe, which is good. There's an actually moderately pretty funny video here to go with it, the announced trailer with Day 9 and Danny Trejo. So if you haven't seen it's like 2 minutes and change. If you haven't seen that, you should probably go watch it because it's funny enough.
You think we could get him on this show?
Danny Trejo?
Danny Trejo?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to try.
I mean,
well,
I'm just saying, like, he's willing to do the Flash and he's willing to do this. Like, his standards can't be that high at this point.
Wow.
Also, he scares me, so maybe we don't put him on this show.
Anyway, so apparently you'll need to update your Magic Arena account by creating a new Wizards account in order to play.
Ugh.
What if you already have a Wizards account connected? That's weird. But hey, whatever.
That's weird.
Maybe you couldn't connect your account before and I'm just thinking you did.
Did
Whatever.
you do it?
And there's a lot of stuff going on September 26th. More than 300 Twitch streamers will play Guilds of Ravnica early. So that's the 26th, which is Wednesday, which is before the pre-release. More on things happening before the pre-release later. And, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, look, more news.
Also, you can get redeemable codes in some stuff. Like in the pre... What the hell was that? Oh, Mikey Fuzz is now following. Hey, thanks. In pre-release packs, you can get a code that gets you a sealed entry into Arena. In Planeswalker decks, you can get a code that will unlock that same deck on Magic Arena. And in booster packs, you can get 3 free Guilds of Ravnica boosters on Arena. But only 1 per account, so don't think you can go gathering them up.
Yeah.
So there you go. They're gonna add friend features, experimental event types, player ranking and progression more meaningful. Wow. Cosmetic items that you probably have to buy, and a better solution to what happens when you get a 5th copy of a card. Ah.
Knife fight?
Probably not.
Okay.
Hey, the Computer King is following too. Welcome, Your Majesty.
He's Cluze 9000's boss.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. I looked right before they shut it down, and there still wasn't the option to filter by set in the collection. So I'm still considering Magic Arena a massive failure because that's one of those basic and obvious back-end things that just nobody thought to put in there. Apparently there's a workaround. You can like hold a button and click a thing and type something in, and you can get it to sort by set. But that's weird arcane knowledge that you only know if you watch the Twitch stream where he said that. So, you know. But they're working on a button, because buttons are expensive. But anyway... Hopefully, Magic Arena will get to the point where I don't hate it sometime during the open beta. And then maybe I'll start playing again. But I wouldn't hold my breath. What?
Maybe.
And I got 18 bits from Pinball Witch to get Chewie gems. That's how this works, right? Sure. Chewie, is that to get gems for me or to get Chewie gems? Because I don't have Chewie gems. But feel free to throw money at me and try it out. Oh, and the Computer King threw 100 bits and said, I love when people pay me the proper respect. Oh, it's actually 101 bits.
Nice.
Hey, thanks. What's the other, how else do you speak to royalty?
Highness?
Highness. Yeah, there we go. That's a good one.
Highness, Majesty.
Consummate V's.
Consummate. Your trogdor.
Anyway, and then there's more beta information. Hey, do you remember that there was going to be an official Magic app called Portal?
Magic the Gathering Portal.
Yeah. Oh, that's the third portal we were talking about. Got it.
Oh, maybe
Yep,
it is.
there it is.
Yeah. So they released this statement here to say, so you're going to see some ads in booster packs telling you to go try it out because they were overly ambitious when they ordered the ads, and the app is not going to be ready by then, but it will soon.
So,
I am
Not yet.
glad that
But soon.
they told us this so we didn't go, oh, dude, it's here, and then go look it up and can't find it.
Yeah, except that I think a lot of people are still going to do that.
Well,
So
yeah.
Spread
Yeah, but
this
now they'll
word
find us when
far
they
and
Google
wide.
it.
Yeah, so by all means, when you see someone at the pre-release going, hey, what's this? It's actually not out yet. Okay. So, a couple last things. The pre-release primer is up. There is a seeded booster. You have to choose your guild again, which is going to lead to people gaming the system to try to get the most valuable promo nonsense.
Or the one that plays the best in limited.
Or the one that plays the best in limited. Although I think if you're going to be, that's what everyone is going to be trying to do. Like either the one that they personally like the best or the one that wins the most. But the outlier is the one of people trying to find the assassin's trophy or something.
Yeah.
So yeah. So if you can pre-register, maybe think about doing that. But everything else is normal for a pre-release as far as I know. So get to it. Go have a party. You get 5 boosters plus the seeded booster. Got it? Got it.
Hooray.
Okay. Oh, and the release notes are up. Cause the set is fully released. This popped up after we recorded the last episode. So hey, if there are any questions you had about any of the cards, this will be where you find it. Okay? Okay.
See.
Boom. So that is it for the non-Magic Online stuff.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we actually have Magic Online again. For a while now, I haven't really had to talk about Magic Online because it doesn't change that much. So let's change some stuff. So, first up, if you would like to play Guilds of Ravnica, you can play it on Thursday on Magic Online. 2 days before you can play it in paper. It's there. There's a link in the show notes that gives you the breakdown of the Guilds of Ravnica League, which starts September 27 at 10 a.m. Pacific time and runs through October 8. So you got some time to get those matches in. You get to play with brand new cards, fun times, before you can even do it in the paper. So that's a thing. The link also contains a lot of the, the avatars and other stuff. But past that, they've got other news that's hiding under all of that. So they are taking Brawl out back and not letting it back in for a little while. So they're setting Brawl aside in favor of bringing in Battle Bond.
To be fair, they're not removing Brawl. They're just removing Brawl events.
Yes, that is more fair. You can still play Brawl in Magic Online.
Yeah.
They're just taking out the events with prize payout version of it because, as Gavin mentions in a whole lot of text in here, they were finding that while it was supposed to be like the super fun thing, Brawl is meant to be a group game, not a one-on-one. And it's a very solvable format when you take it out of its intended function and you put prizes on the line. People are just going to play the things that are most likely going to win. And it just became a bit of a mess. And also events weren't firing, which I think is the other important part. So you'll still be able to play it, but it won't be a prize-supported one-on-one event. If they make changes to it where they feel like it can come back to that, they will. But for right now, they're going to set that to the side. So, alas. Also listed in here, just like a little bit above where Chewie's at, they've got announcements for things that are going to be coming out in the future. They're going to be doing Triple Innistrad for Halloween because, of course, they are. That's what they do every October. They're going to have some Cube Spotlight series and more information on that coming November 7. They're going to be doing a Time Spiral block. I'm assuming this is limited because I don't know what else it means. All 3 sets of Time Spiral block will open again on November 14th. I'm gonna assume that this is like a week of limited. Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make Time Spiral block constructed a thing.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would. It's just weird that they didn't clarify. They're gonna be doing Modern Cube on November 21st. If you want to avoid your family in America, go for it. Take that Thanksgiving. And I should also note that starting on December 5th is coming out for 2 weeks. We'll have more information on, as we get there. So.
Sorry for everyone listening live and listening later. I actually had to mute what he was saying.
You censored me?
I did.
Right here? Look, just because I'm giving information out that I'm not supposed to doesn't mean you can edit me. Okay?
For real, though, it just says redacted on the website.
Yeah, like, there's not actually information. Don't worry about it. They'll get to it later. And then, December 19th, they're going to run out the rest of the year with some Vintage Cube for almost a month. After which, in January 17th, they'll roll into Ravnica Allegiance. So, look at all that news. And finally, because it's funny, and I talk about these when they're funny, I've got some updates from
wait a minute.
What's up?
We didn't clarify. They're putting Battle Bond in treasure chests.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I alluded to it and then didn't actually talk about it.
Yeah. So
if you're looking for those Battle Bond cards.
We mentioned a while back that they had to hold off on that until the Guilds of Ravnica update because there are only so many people working on it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get them in there, and there's a list of the cards and treasure chest available on the page if you scroll down.
Yeah.
Along with their relative drop rate changes and all that fun stuff.
Yay.
So cool. Good catch. And then, for the bug blog, the long and short of it is they post what's currently bugged. Try to avoid playing with it. If you play with it, you get an advantage or cheating, and you should be reported. If your opponent does it, you should report them. They update these things every 2 weeks. For the most part, I don't talk about them because a lot of the time it's funny graphic glitches or things that don't matter. When they're actually funny to me, I like to tell you about them. So here you go. If a player has no cards left in their library, both players will lose a clash from cards, such as Release the Ants.
Oh, if a player has no cards, then everyone
Yes.
loses. Oh, that's weird.
Both players lose the clash.
Huh.
Which is strange and kind of surprises me it's never come up before. I guess the game is like, oh, I can't find a card, so you can't win or lose it, so you both lose. I guess it's better than the game crashing, but I thought it was funny. If a card is manifested and would normally require a choice, it incorrectly prompts you for that choice.
Whoops.
Don't know what that means, but sounds funny.
I wonder what... Like, I don't think it means, like, targeting choices. Maybe... Like, would you like to kick this or something, maybe?
Maybe it asks a yes or no question when you're supposed to pick between things. But, like, when you manifest a card... Like, okay.
Well, yeah, clearly
There's
that's
not
the
a
issue.
choice,
I'm just
really.
wondering what choices because if you like manifest a lightning bolt, surely it's not going to ask you what to target.
I bet it's if it's a card like you manifest a command, it might be prompting you to make the picks on the command, even though it's manifesting as a face down creature. So, I could see that being a problem.
JD Phoenix says, or like name a creature type. That could be a thing.
Oh, yeah, that could be a thing, too. Yeah. There's a lot of weirdness going on there.
If you manifest a, like something from, I don't know, Onslaught block or something that cared about tribes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are things for that.
Yeah.
Cool. And then just the quick rundown because they're here. Solemnity does not prevent a player from paying tribute for cards such as Oracle of Bones. That's weird. I guess because nobody gets counters. tribute would put counters on things. Yeah, that just sounds like a normal coding error.
Yeah.
So cool. Brizella, Voice of Nightmares, incorrectly has a converted mana cost of 13. That's flavor. Well done. Way to escape from Innistrad.
Whoops.
That's great.
Oh, dude, when you mouse over it, it actually shows you the melded card. That's cool. I've never noticed that before.
Feature. Yeah, I don't remember that being a thing before.
Why can they do that, but they can't turn split cards? Huh?
There are limitations beyond our control, Chewie.
I guess.
And our understanding. You cannot fathom the true form of Gygas's attacks. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Kragenwick Cremator is unable to deal damage to planeswalkers. That's a problem.
Yeah, because it used to say, wait, is it supposed to?
I mean,
because they said before.
Anymore.
Yeah, they said before that anything that deals damage to players based on some sort of criteria, and the thing that they said was like cards in hand. Oh, that's criteria based on that player.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
never mind.
For this one, even in the Oracle text, it's target player or planeswalker. So, yeah.
Right, and the card, the damage that the Kragenwick Cremator does is based on the card that you discard at random.
Right.
So that's
irrelevant to the other player's hand or anything like that. Yeah, makes sense. So that's just a mistake with the no update.
Whoops.
Got it. And Zathras Slyblade does not lose hexproof when its ability is activated. That sounds awesome. Except not.
Yeah, and its ability is, until end of turn, Zathras Slyblade loses hexproof and gains first strike and death touch.
Hacks.
So yeah, that's pretty important, I think.
Yeah, that's hacks. Do not take advantage of that. 2/1 with first strike and death touch is pretty great. So, suffice it to say, do not take advantage of these things. That is cheating. You will get in trouble. Report people if they're cheating. Maybe just avoid using cards. And given this list of cards, I think you can avoid using most of these for a while. Although if Brizella, Voice of Nightmares, converted mana cost 13, makes something funny happen, I do want to hear about it. Like, that's funny. So well done. Yeah, Brizella was the main reason I wanted to talk about this, but I also think the Release the Ants thing was pretty fun. So there you go. Get another update in 2 weeks when they tell us what else is broken.
Yay, things that are broken.
You can also see everything else that's broken and what's been fixed by clicking on that link too. So all right. I think we're done with news finally.
Yay, long Monday Night Magic episode.
Yeah, it is. With a long pre-show.
So, take us away, gentlemen.
Hooray. So yeah, I guess go to the pre-release this weekend. It is this weekend, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go to the pre-release this weekend. Play with the new cards. Have fun. Pick the best deck or the one you like the most. Whatever you have there. Hopefully it'll go better than the last time we made these choices. And I remember going to a Sunday pre-release where there were only 2 guilds available. So that was fun. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
I didn't even rant much about that this time around, did I?
Yeah, we had other stuff.
I mean,
we
you're
got
all
most of the
ranted
ranting out of our
yeah.
system before. We have finite amounts of energy for that.
And of all the things to rant about, that's probably the least rantable.
That is very true. So, but yeah, past that, I just wanted to make a note about how weird it is that the new season of Daredevil comes out next month, considering I haven't even finished watching Iron Fist yet. So that's strange.
I've never been 3 seasons behind in Marvel stuff. I'm going to have to hurry up and watch Luke Cage season 2 quick.
Yeah, you got to up your game, buddy. You got to stop watching bad Death Note.
And X-Files.
Also that. Let me know if you catch up and then the new stuff's good. I have not seen any of the stuff that's come out the last few years.
I have 1 episode left in season 4 of X-Files, so it'll be a while.
That's fair. And I also agree with Pinball Witch. Iron Fist 2 has been better than Iron Fist 1 so far. I just haven't finished it.
Nice.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I know Cluze is not that high of a bar, but I didn't
Yeah,
hate
it's
the
not.
first season as much as most people did. I just acknowledged that it had problems. But yeah, other than that, I will note that recently I did an audiobook that's a few years old, but I really enjoyed it. So I'm just going to tell you that very briefly. The book was Velveteen versus the Junior Super Patriots League, which is a Sean McGuire book. And I'm like, oh, it's a superhero book. Neat. Well, it's actually about what would happen in a world where superheroes are pretty much picked at an early age when they first get their superpowers and taken through a system that is kind of modeled after the way that Hollywood and Disney treat child actors. And they're raised under those circumstances instead. See what happens. It was an enjoyable read. I liked it, and there are more books to it, so I'm looking forward to getting through those. But yes, it's exactly as dark as you would expect. Also, I appreciate the fact that a number of the characters, rather than just hitting the normal list,
Wait. You roboted hard. A number of what?
a number of ridiculous powers or unusual powers. Like, that's usually what pulls me into superhero stuff. I don't really need Superman variant number 10. One of the characters, who's not a main character but appears, is Princess with all the powers of a Disney princess, specifically a Disney princess. So, like, small animals following her around all the time, and can transport with, a pumpkin that turns into a horse-drawn carriage, but also is, beating the crap out of criminals. It's entertaining. The main character is Velveteen with the ability to animate totemic things, which as a child means that they're like, oh, well, clearly you're going to animate teddy bears and stuff because that's how we market you. But she can also control things like dinosaurs in museums and other stuff too. So you get neat stuff.
Could she recreate the Ghostbusters 2 Statue of Liberty thing walking around?
She could. That would be within her power set.
Nice.
For the most part, though, because of the conditions she's stuck under, she's working with toys. There is a neat scene where she attacks someone with an army of little green army men, and it's pretty amazing. So, like, that's not even a spoiler because the fight scenes are not the focus of the book. But I've enjoyed it, and I like to share when there's a book series that I've never heard of that I'm enjoying. So I think there are two of these. You could pretty much just pick it up and go with it with the first one. I haven't read the second one yet, but it's fun. It's episodic with half of them in the present when she's an adult and half of them in the past. So it's a little Watchmen-y, but not as dark as Watchmen. Just pretty dark in other ways. So it's neat.
One more time, what is it and who's it by?
Sean McGuire, who also does October Day and a number of other book series. And the book is called Velveteen versus the Junior Super Patriot League.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
when you started this, you said I did an audiobook, and I was like
I listened to it.
You recorded it?
But... Yeah, I also was thinking that Squee had recorded
well,
an audiobook.
I specifically said that because at one point I said I read a book, and she was like, no, you listened to it. And so I was making a point of not saying read, and I didn't think about what verb I actually used. So there you go. So that's fun. That's my tangent at the end of an already long show. So take it away, Cluze.
All right. Hey, it was good to have you all with us. I'm glad you chose to listen to the show or to interact with us here on Twitch chat. If you want to get more from me, you can find me on my other podcast that I do, Random Discard, found at randomdiscard.com. You can also find me this week. I'm going to be guesting on a show called Hive Mind with host John Dunning, live on Hangouts this Wednesday at 9 Eastern. So come check that out.
Does it make you a sliver?
Yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of cool keywords you can get. I'm not saying not do it.
Okay, that's fair. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you on how that goes.
Okay.
Shoot me a message on Wednesday before that happens so I can host it.
Okay, I don't know if you can because I don't know if it goes on Twitch.
Oh, did you not say Twitch?
No, it's on Google Hangouts. In fact, he uses Hangouts Live.
So it'll be on YouTube? I think usually that's how Google Hangouts works.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'll find out more. When I know more, I'll let you know. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Also, Jace Player, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, although no, you're wrong about the comment you made earlier. Just
Yes,
so you know.
yes, you are.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He knows what he did. Is what I'm going to say. He knows. If you want to reach me, your best bet is the Twitters. I am at Lacluyze, spelled just like it is in ye olde show notes. I also recently recorded, I don't know when it's going to post, but I recently recorded an episode of School of Movies with Alex Shaw.
Oh God, did you guys do that? I'm so sorry.
We did that over the weekend, and wow, just wow. The movie in question is a film called Food Fight. And if you have not seen this film, don't. I mean that sincerely. I'm a fan of bad movies. There are a lot of bad movies that I'm like, oh, this is awful. You've got to see this. No. This one, nope. There is absolutely no reason to spend your time watching this film.
Cluze, Alex Shaw only wants to hurt you when he pulls you in for watching
He
these
apparently
movies.
does. I actually, mentioned to him at the end of the show, one of these days he's got to have me on for an actual good movie, or at least a movie that I enjoyed. And that may happen in the future, but it hasn't happened so far. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. That's how to reach me. That's what I got going on. Take it away, Chewie.
Yay, I'm Chewie. So, of course, you can find me here on twitch.tv/themanapool, where I stream things all the time. All the time. In recent... since last week, I have streamed, let's see here, some more XCOM Enemy Within. I streamed The Messenger, which was amazing, and I think I'm only about halfway through or so there will be more of The Messenger streamed very soon. To commemorate the very sad news of Telltale Games shutting down, I streamed slightly ahead of schedule, which the schedule is whenever my brain can handle it, the next chapter of their first The Walking Dead game. I have to space those apart fairly widely because
they drain your soul.
Yeah, because if you've ever read The Walking Dead or watched the show or played the games, you know The Walking Dead is depressing as hell.
Yeah.
And I just can't bring myself to play it terribly often. But this last chapter was more tense than depressing. So I should be able to knock out the final chapter of it relatively soon and go play something less depressing that they did, because they have done lots of point-and-click style games.
Do you know if they ended up resolving the story across the different games? Because I know there's more than one.
More than one game or more than one story?
More than one game.
Yeah, there's The Walking Dead, then there's Season 2 or whatever, then there was New Frontier, and then there's the final one, which they announced they're not going to finish.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking about, essentially. Like, did they get to resolve things, or?
Apparently it was supposed to be 4 or 5 episodes, and only 2 got done.
That's unfortunate.
It really is. I'm really hoping that somebody makes that happen.
Like some kind of Kickstarter revival or something.
Or something. Or somebody buys the rights and hires the people back to finish this game.
That would be nice.
Because, yeah, the fact that an entire massive series just stops before the end, when the end was there.
Was that close and was clearly planned.
Yeah.
Jim Sterling has a Jimquisition episode that just posted today about the whole shutdown of Telltale Games that was pretty illuminating in the way that Jim Sterling is. So
loud and boisterous, and where's he from?
Quite. I have no idea, honestly.
Does Jim does he has an accent of some sort that's not coming?
He does, but I've never been clear if that's actually his real accent.
Because he does everything in character.
Yeah, if that's just the voice of his character. I literally have no idea.
So loud and boisterous and accented, we'll say.
Correct. Yes.
Of indeterminate origin.
Nice. But anyway, so that's what's been going on just since last week's Monday Night Magic. Also, Monday Night Magic and the Manapool are both streamed there. And it's twitch.tv/themanapool. Come hang out. We have a lot of fun playing things. I started playing Eternal there, and I've been playing Eternal off of there ever since. So that's pretty sweet.
It should really be a weekend.
I think it's a couple now, isn't it?
Ooh.
Over on youtube.com/themanapool is where I post edited things that come from the streams. What's been going up lately is, let's see, I finished DuckTales Remastered finally. I've got Rogue Legacy, the beginning of the end. I finally finished Rogue Legacy on a massive 4-hour stream, and I've been chopping that up and compressing it and turning it into highlight reel videos to finish out the Rogue Legacy series on YouTube. And I had a really awesome run of Slay the Spire, a daily climb where I started with a 50-card random deck and ended up taking that all the way to the end. 50 cards might not sound much, but I think you start with a 10-card deck, 12-card deck, something like that in Slay the Spire. So starting with 50 is completely insane. And it was completely insane. It was an amazing run.
So it delivered on the hope?
Yeah. Also,
Excellent.
every time you added a card to your deck, you actually added 3. So I think by the end I had like a 70-some card deck.
That sounds backwards.
Which led to amazing gameplay opportunities, I'll just say.
Sure.
So, yeah, if you know Slay the Spire, I highly recommend you check that out. And if you don't know Slay the Spire, you should check that game out just in general because it's great. It's a roguelike, turn-based deck-building game. With,
Okay.
combat and stuff. It's really great. It presses all the buttons.
Snake.
There is a roguelike character. Yeah, it's a roguelike game. There is a character that is sort of like a rogue class. Yes.
There you go.
Nah. But that's what's going on over on YouTube. The Puzzle Lab, right before we started streaming, my render for the Hearthstone Boomsday Project Puzzle Lab, the secret lab, the lethal secret lab, was a 4-hour raw video that I managed to compress down into like an hour and 25 minutes of just rage.
All right, then.
So, yeah, it was the hardest of the lethal things. And I had a guy in chat who decided he wanted to be helpful and like just blurt out the answer, the solution to how to do the one I'd been stuck on. Luckily, I have self-control, so I like managed to delete what he said without actually reading it.
Yeah, don't do that.
But like it made me so mad that I couldn't think straight for a good period after that. And he kept, after I swore at him multiple times, he kept like, "Are you sure I can't give you help?" And I'm like, "I swear to God, I'll kill you." So like it didn't help, but I left all that in the video so you could understand what I was going through. It was not pretty, but I got through it, and that means the next 3 Secret Lab videos will come relatively quickly because they're not 4 hours apiece. In fact, the second one is only like 40 minutes. So, yeah. But that's on YouTube. Hey! So, if you want to help support what I do with this insane amount of content creation that I do, 2 podcasts a week, live streams, YouTube videos, all that good stuff. I do it all myself. I don't have an editor or anything like that because I'm poor and you have to pay people that you want to do work for you. Duh.
That's how that works.
Yeah. So, I will tell you the most effective way to support what I do directly is on Patreon at patreon.com/themanapool, where you can sign up for a lifeguard position, the various flavors of lifeguard. The uncommon lifeguard gets, all the lifeguards get a corresponding color in the Manapool Discord server, by the way. Uncommons are silver, rares are gold, mythics are mythic orange. Twitch subscribers get Twitch purple. It's pretty awesome. Now, the uncommon lifeguards get the early access to YouTube videos and to episodes of the Manapool. Rare lifeguards get the early access stuff and access to the odds and ends, all the stuff recorded before and after both Monday Night Magic and the Manapool, including this week's, where we had lots and lots of spirited discussion
Yeah.
about the Amazon thing. And
There were opinions. And Mythic Lifeguards get the early stuff, the odds and ends, the color in the Discord server, and you get the shout out on both podcasts and on the end slate of all of the YouTube videos. So, I would like to thank the Mythic Lifeguards Kim Ho, Andrew Hunt, Al, Lance Delicious, Team U Hellas Are You, Connor Kennedy, John Morris, Jeff Spencer, Stuart Slaw, PJ McMullen, Bosco Bertain, Casey, Fayen Says, Danny Liao, Jason Doan, Cody Buckowing, Jake Jansons, Jason Kaus, Brian DeLucci, Stark Maximum, John Parker, Jimmy Scott, Violet Moon, Dan Holm, Bartle, Mike Millerburn, and the Beastfather Aaron Goodwine. Thank you all so very much for your continued support. I literally couldn't do it without you. And thanks to all of the... I don't know if the camera picked it up, but when I said thanks, something came from my face region, shot out, and then fell slowly. So it wasn't like spit.
Was it flames shooting from
on the
face?
side of my head?
Yeah.
So that scared me because, like I said, if it had just been like I'd spit a little, it would have just. But this went and then like floated
your
down
skeleton
slowly.
trying to get out?
Maybe, I don't know. Like
Because that's terrifying.
there's some dust in my beard. I don't know. That was disturbing though.
You could have died.
I could have died.
No dying.
Sorry, that is the first rule.
Rule 1.
True.
Rule 1, no dying. Rule 2, don't be a dick. Rule 3, do not backseat game. I had to add that rule to the 2 rules because I'm a Twitch streamer now, so.
That's true.
And people want to show up and tell you how to play, and then I swear at you. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is it for this extremely long episode of Monday Night Magic. We're just going to go now. So, thank you all so very much for listening or watching or whatever, and go play some Magic at the pre-release.